Everyone, welcome. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the A2Z program. You are right here, right now. You are live on Pop Culture Pros Network. And today, December 3rd, 2020, my distinguished and honored guest to my immediate, well, it would be my immediate right, your immediate left, is Mr. Pop Culture Pros himself, Mr. Steve Faraci.
What's up, buddy? How's it going? Hey, congratulations on this new show.
Thank you, sir.
I'm
Thank
very
you.
excited about it. I know the fans out there are also very excited about it. I'm gonna share this out while we get started.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. Just to remind everybody, Pop Culture Pros on Facebook, Pop Culture Pros on Twitter, Pop Culture Pros, all one word on YouTube. We'd appreciate it if you shared it out. When we welcome all your comments, and we just appreciate everybody jumping over and giving us a shot. So, with that out of the way, Mr. Faraci, how are you this evening?
I can't be any better than I am right now. And just to share, this is a very special occasion, and I got this because I thought it was going to be worth money one day, but it's not happening. But I'm going to open this bad boy tonight, live on the air, live on your program. It
Whoa.
is the Game of Thrones White Walker whiskey.
Exclusive.
Live on the program.
We have an exclusive on the program. Wow. This is awesome. This is
Saving
great.
for a special occasion, and it also goes into the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon.
Right
We're
there
just
it
pop
is.
culture all over the place, ain't we?
We're just, I mean, it's raining pop culture. I mean, it doesn't stop. I mean, we even have pro in the name of my program.
Because you are a pro. That's number one, and I mean it's an honor to be your very first guest.
I appreciate that, Steve, and all the fans appreciate it. And speaking of all the fans and all the people I've been talking to, they, since we moved over to pop culture and we started this up under your, under the mindful guys and the great mind of social media and pop culture you have, a lot of people want to know a little bit about you. So, Steve, if we could just real quick, tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from? And bring us up to where you're from and where you started.
So I am from Brooklyn, New York. Let me take a little swig.
Take a swig
to the show.
Cheers to the show. Here we go. Bang.
Oh, that's good. That's good, Johnny
Ooh,
Walker.
Sweet, Johnny Walker's good.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, doing all the things that Brooklyn boys do, getting into trouble, running around, doing things you're not supposed to be doing. Moved out of there in 19. It's been a long time now. It's been
Wow.
over 20 years since I moved from there. Grew up a Mets fan. You can see with the orange and blue back here.
Oh,
Mets fan,
is that what
Giants fan, Knicks fan, Rangers fan. So I wasn't much into college football until I moved down here to South Florida because, I mean, you're not rooting for Rutgers. It's a rough team to root for. But I became a Canes fan when I moved down here.
Okay.
Finished up. I actually left Brooklyn as I was starting my senior year in high school.
Okay.
So, that's not in the plans for most kids, but it has absolutely worked out coming down here. I hated it first. There's still times that I hate it. It's hot, humid. That's why I can grow a beautiful head of hair.
I think you can.
Can't do it.
I
can't do it.
think you can't do it.
It's the humidity.
It's
It's the humidity that makes me just want to do it. But no, we joke around all the time that I hated moving down here. I hated living here. But if not for the move, I wouldn't have met my wife, wouldn't have my two beautiful kids. And so I started off a website called Cinesportstalk.com with a partner about 10 years ago. And it all came together as I was planning for my wedding, and it actually at the reception is when I came up with some of these different ideas for it.
Mhm.
And so earlier this year, all the change and the COVID nonsense was going on. So, time for maybe some new beginnings with, expanded talk. So we kept it to sports and movies, on that other site. But here we're getting into music, we're getting into pop culture stuff. And for me, it was important to keep it pop culture just because
Yeah.
it's a huge umbrella. There's not nobody can say stick to sports or stick to movies. It's pop culture. So we can talk wrestling, we can talk sports, we could talk movies, TV shows, streaming, this and that. We could talk about who's marrying who, even though I don't give a shit about any of that. But you got some fans commenting here. Hollywood Dave saying South Florida is better than New York.
Oh boy, we're up already.
Well, yeah,
Let's see. Well,
Timmy, we
what's
got
the show?
Timmy.
What, Timmy? What's the show? What the f is this show about? I'll give it a try. Well, thank you, Tim. It's not your usual, knitting or floral painting class that you usually watch on PBS, but we're going to do our best to provide you with entertainment here. An A to Z shop ripoff. Ooh. Maybe I should explain that
Wow.
one a little bit. Here in our hometown, in the gracious, picturesque mountain town of Deposit, New York, we actually have a variety shop called the A to Z shop. And Brain Strauss, who's an old friend of mine, shout out to Brain Strauss, Mike Strauss, but it's Brain Strauss. He's the brain. We have it was a little like it was a, for lack of a better term, a junk shop. Um, but it has a really cool sign that says the A to Z shop. And I've asked numerous times if I could buy it. And, she's the kind of person that really doesn't want to part with anything, even though it's been sitting there for, 80 years.
It only makes sense.
It would only make sense.
Who
But,
should have it
but
besides
yeah,
you?
yeah, that would be the perfect, that would be the perfect thing. But anyway, Steve, the Florida thing, where we left off there, we were talking about, the hurricanes and Florida, and then Dave, of course, Dave had to interrupt and give us his South Florida BS. But
Mm-hmm.
you were Cinesports. We were talking about how we're not limited to just sports or movies. We can talk about
Right.
comics, and we can talk about pinup models. We can talk about toys. We can talk about anything we want to talk about.
Right, exactly, and that's what was important to me, that we had no restrictions, because the team, the cast of characters that we have, there should be no restrictions on us. I love the team, that we've compiled, that we most of them have come over from Cinesports Talk,
Yeah,
but I can't do it alone. So the tremendous team that we have, the different personalities, doesn't make sense to limit any of us to
right.
talking about one or two different subjects.
Yeah, no, it's great. We do have a great team. We could give a quick shout out to that. We have Jader and Kyle, who were always entertaining. We have the Four Quarters show with Dave. So I'll give you Mr. Kenny Omega. I'll give you a shout out, Dave. Even though it's hurting my gallbladder right now. And of course my beautiful friend Aline. You know, and what else do we have?
Happy
We have
birthday, Aline! It's Aline's birthday today.
Aline. Happy birthday! Shout out, happy birthday to Aline. Aline's a great guy. And we have this really, really cool show, right? What's it called again? The Just Too Sweet show. Yeah, that's right. The Just Too Sweet show, which
Boom.
features Timmy, me, Bert, and Dave, and a lot of times you. A lot of times you.
Yeah,
And then
I
of course,
have a blast on there. I love talking about the old school wrestling.
oh, it's great when you're on, man, because we can really team up on the new guys, on the younger guys.
Yeah.
And of course, we have. I like to call the flagship shows of our network the Put It in the Book show, and the We Stomped You Out show, which was just on, correct?
Yep.
Hopefully everybody tuned into that. That's always fun listening to you guys. Go on, you guys. I like the banter between you guys with the football.
Strauss was watching. His name popped up, and Timmy said Mike, and we were like, what? So, yeah. Yeah, he chimed in, so
Yes,
appreciate that support on there.
like Voldemort. We've
Baltimore.
only said Do we? I mean, is he going to appear? I don't know what's going. I mean, is that something that I don't know. So anyway, so Steve, you're in South Florida
Yep.
or Middle Florida?
South Florida, down
South Florida.
Fort
Okay.
Lauderdale area.
Fort Lauderdale. All right. Now tell me something. Coming from upstate, coming from not upstate, you're downstate. I'm upstate. Coming
Yeah.
from New York as a whole, where we get the four seasons, where we have, the colder, cooler climate, the really, really hot summers, but the cooler climate. What was it like acclimating when you went down there, and how is it? Because this is important to pop culture too. We have a different culture up here in New York.
Yeah.
We're kind of like it's I don't want to say all Rockwellian, but it's more traditional how people view the holidays up here rather than I'm assuming because I don't see like it like this is for example Christmas time. I mean Santa Claus like taking his coat off and having his board shorts on,
Mm-hmm.
and with a surfboard up on the roof. I don't know. Well, what was it like going from here to there and the differences?
It it was real shitty that first Christmas to
Mm.
say the least. Not only did I kind of move from my friends up there, but the first Christmas I'll never forget. It was like 85 degrees on Christmas Day, and you just can't get into the spirit of it. You just can't.
Yeah.
It's not. You're walking outside, you're seeing everybody in shorts and flip flops on Christmas. I mean, at least go through the motions, right? I mean, you go out there and sweat your ass off, but
And some pencil.
right. So and you joke around about the Santa carrying around a surfboard, but there are Christmas ornaments, there are blow ups that you put on your lawn, just like that, and he's holding a pina colada. But that it's still it's never gotten to the point where South Florida feels like the holidays.
Right.
It's never been that way. So you really kind of especially when you start having a family and the kids, you got to go a little overboard when it comes to Christmas time. So I'm huge into decorating from top to bottom.
Cool.
Really going all Griswold out there. Uh, but I gotta say, this year, and usually it takes. December is another mostly warm month. Temperatures in the 80s at times, 70s if we're lucky.
Holy shit.
But after the first of the year is when we start, getting those cold fronts that come
Right.
through. That really have the push. But this year it's been a little bit different. Last week we got our first cold front already. It was in November,
Wow.
and then a little bit more of a push this week. So Tuesday was in the 40s here in the morning,
Wow.
which is once you get down to around 70 in South Florida. That's when people are breaking out the parkas, breaking out the scarves,
Wearing gloves.
the boots, the gloves, everything. But yeah, they yeah, God forbid it gets below 70, 65 degrees. People are out there, huddling up over a campfire, trying to warm up.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's got to be quite a transition. And like I said, from you coming up from New York down to there, that was like a culture shock probably to have to go through that. Yeah, I can't imagine that. Now,
Yep.
um, speaking of pop culture and speaking of what we like, a lot of us are into comics. All of us are into movies.
Yep.
What I guess we should probably address quick this whole COVID situation and what it's done to pop culture in general. I mean, we're talking lack of movie theaters. I mean, that I know of. I don't know. Are there any places in the country that you can watch a movie, or is that's still a no go?
Yeah, there's a bunch of movie theaters that are open now.
There are. Okay.
And so for like AMC and stuff like that, where they have the app where you can choose your seats ahead of time.
Oh wow.
What it does is you can buy a set two seats together, or three seats together, depends on the household. And once you purchase the tickets, all the seats around it go black. They
Okay.
cannot be purchased.
Oh okay.
I've still not gone to a theater though. That's not
You
on
haven't.
my
You're not.
top
You're not
priority right
feeling
now.
that yet.
No, no. So, in the business that we are in, when it's a lot of movies, we're reviewing films. We do giveaways so that people can see these flicks early.
Yeah.
It's really boiled down. It's actually helped us out a little bit in the transition over to Pop Culture Pros, in it that we're not only limited to giving away these screenings in the cities that we typically did. So some of the cities that we have are, Boston, Hartford, Connecticut. We're in Rhode Island, all of Florida, Jackson, Mississippi.
Wow.
We're in 5 or 6 different cities in Texas. We're in Oklahoma City. We're in Phoenix. We're in Albuquerque. So while we are in a lot of different cities and we do giveaways in all those towns, now it's unlimited. So really, the fans that are in Chicago, that are up by you, that we will, that, Deposit New York is never going to be a city that we're going to do giveaways in
No.
theaters, just because it's not.
No.
The studios want the bigger towns,
Of course. Yeah.
but now with the virtual, it could be anywhere. So
Sweet.
fans that didn't that kind of like halfway paid attention to us,
Hmm.
chimed in here and there. They have the anticipation now for virtual screenings. So
Cool.
that part has been a plus. If there are some silver linings out there when it comes to COVID, and that and I say that half-heartedly there,
Right.
but this would be one of them.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to me that there's been a few things, that are to our favor, like the streaming services and stuff, the things that drop streaming. Like, let's make an example: The Mandalorian, very very popular show right now. And
Yeah.
actually, let's give a little plug to Tim and Ed,
Oh yeah.
who do Empire 161, which I neglected to mention as one of our shows before, which I apologize. Show I faithfully watch, but they do Mando Mondays on that now because they're both huge Star Wars fans, as am I. And what I was saying is, like, with the COVID, with people staying in, we can still reach people and get people into these new shows, because obviously, streaming is a big thing right now. I mean, I imagine before COVID even hit, I imagine like the streaming services probably affected. I mean, to a small margin, maybe the movie theater. The how many people go to see movies and stuff. Do you
Yeah.
think that? Do you think that is, before, was that a deal? Was that something?
I, I mean, it gave everybody a different option, so they didn't necessarily, if it's a brand new movie that you want to go see, you got to get your butt to a theater.
Right.
But there's so much content on the streaming services that I'm sure there were some people said I could wait on this one. I might have gone to the theater if I didn't have any other options to watch, any new shows, or even the Netflix originals, Amazon Prime original, Hulu original. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have all these avenues to go down when it comes to entertainment. But the big boys, like the Marvel movies, the DC movies,
Those
Marvel's
you got to
far
get out and watch
superior.
them.
But those are them. Those are the ones that you got to get out and watch. And
Yeah.
you bringing up the streaming stuff. Warner Brothers announced today that they're moving forward with a plan to release anything that was going to be in theaters on HBO Max.
There we go.
So
There we go.
beginning with Wonder Woman, we're going to see a lot of stuff come out on HBO Max, be on HBO Max for about 30 days, running parallel with in theaters, and then it
Wow.
comes off of there for a while until it comes back on HBO, a few months later.
Okay, that's cool. So that gives people an option to see a new movie without having to, you can still watch, like, if your anticipation to see that movie, you can now see it on the streaming service on HBO.
Yep.
That's really cool. That's
Yep.
really cool. Glad we talked about that, because I'm sure that a lot of people weren't aware of that. But no, that's great, because I think Wonder Woman's what, Christmas Day or day
Yeah.
after
It's Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. Sweet, Wonder
Merry
Woman. Well,
Christmas. Yeah, Wonder Woman
yeah,
on
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas. I like me some Wonder Woman. Oh my God, Gal Gadot.
Oof.
You know, they couldn't.
I mean,
You
and
had,
the best of the DC films, a lot of people have Wonder Woman up here. DC has struggled over the years to even remotely try to keep up with Marvel.
They really have.
And this is a unique opportunity for I think for DC, and Marvel is going to be the Marvel shows are going to be hitting. Scarlet Witch is going to be out there. A lot of good
That's
stuff is
right.
coming to these streaming services. And then, as I was about to say, and Timmy just popped in the comments there, you can actually rent out movie theaters now for between 100 and 200 bucks, depending on. So you can rent out an entire theater,
The
you
whole
know.
thing. You and your buddies.
So exactly, and you spread apart just like you normally would. You get the masks on, and so for 100 bucks, you get if
That's
you get
that's
20, if you get 20 people, it's $5 a pop. You sit spread out and you enjoy
that's
a movie
nothing.
that's brand new in theaters.
That's
Yeah,
nothing. That's like a gift to do that.
and you see that everybody's got to kind of think outside the box now. COVID has wreaked havoc and
Hmm.
caused people to start to think of new ways, and that's true with restaurants and everything. It has caused
Yeah.
everybody to think outside the box, and we're benefiting from it now with the streaming stuff.
Yeah, and we're also providing them with our own content too. They can come to us if they want to keep up with stuff, if they want to, you know what's going on, especially with the sports, especially and Jader and Kyle, I know are really up on movies and stuff. David, when he's not drinking White Claw, he's very very persistent on new things that are coming out. We got some cool comments here, Steve. Already, we got Chris. Chris, best of luck. Thank you, Chris. That's great. That's Freiburg, man. Wow,
Chris,
Freiburg. Where have you been? Where have you been? Oh my God,
and watching us
Freiburg.
on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to the channel.
Yes, everybody, go to YouTube. It's all one word, Pop Culture Pros, and you click the notification bell and click subscribe, and you
Bing.
won't even have to do anything anymore. When we go live on any show, you'll get a notification on your phone or on your computer, your tablet, or your watch, whatever you have that you get your stuff on. Yeah, we got some really cool stuff here. Georgia is open. Brain Strauss says that's cool. That's cool. Oh, Tim. Yep. Like you said, Tim's going to rent. Now, let's think about this for a minute. King Kong and Godzilla. There's some classic monster, old monster movies.
For
Now,
sure.
I watched was it what was the first Godzilla? The newer ones that came out about 2017. I think it came out.
Well, that was probably Skull Island
That
in
okay. That was Kong.
2017. So, yes, Kong Skull Island.
Okay, that one was cool. That had the giant squid, right? Yeah, that one was cool.
Skull
Then,
Island, and they also made a ride of it up in Universal Studios.
oh my God, that's great. Now the cool thing I thought, and it might have been that movie where it showed on the petroglyph or the petroglyph writing on the rock. It showed Ghidorah and Godzilla and all them
Yes.
when they were. That was really cool. I thought that was a really cool setup into the whole
Yeah, and,
thing.
and
But
then if you stayed around for the end credit scene right
mhm.
after, you heard the Godzilla roar in the background.
I didn't hear that. I must not have
That
got. I think we
that
watched
got
it in the
people
man
pumped.
cave. Yeah, my
Hey, the
brother.
man cave, baby.
Did you do you know? Speaking of man caves, do you know the legend and folklore of the man cave up here in Deposit?
I don't.
Well, my brother Mike, who's watching, my brother Mike is hearing impaired, so he probably can't hear us as good, but he's watching us. Now, I don't know if I know sometimes when you have this on mute, you can read it, like you can
Yeah,
our
the captions
captions
will
come
come up.
up. But be that as it may, Mike has a garage out back of his house that's affectionately known as the cave. And what we do, me and a bunch of the guys and him, we all usually get together on Fridays or Saturday, even during the week. He's got a wood stove, he's got a big TV, and we hang out, we watch videos, and we swear, and we make each other laugh. So it's like we even go live sometimes on Facebook and make people laugh. So yeah, but we were watching that movie in the man cave, and I must have got up or went outside or something. I didn't hear the Godzilla screech. I would have loved to have heard that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it was fun.
yeah. The now you're not a big Star Wars fan.
Do you
Is
see
it?
my shirt?
Well, I see your shirt. I see your shirt. I see
So
you're coming around to it. But were you before? Am I mistaken? Because remember we were busting your balls a year
yeah,
or two ago. You never really watched it much. That this is kind of new to you, or
I get this a lot. I was never growing up. I was not big into sci-fi stuff.
okay,
I was into the comic book stuff, so it wasn't that I wasn't okay with the fantasy worlds, right?
right?
But I never got into Star Wars. I never, I did not enjoy the Matrix. I did not
I
get
didn't
into
either.
Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, that kind of stuff. I mean, even as I got older, I could care less. I couldn't care any less to watch Harry Potter. I did watch Harry Potter, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't as awful as I was telling myself it might be. But Lord of the Rings, no, get out of here with that. Hobbit, get out of here with that. But Star Wars, I tell you, a very long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, uh, I
Sounds like Hancock, New York.
I started watching the Star Wars flicks, and I just don't know I don't know why I stopped. I probably started dating my wife, and I just lost all interest in that. But earlier this year, pandemic started. I did start watching Star Wars, so I've gone through the first three. And here's the other thing:
Hmm?
when it comes to a movie series, I shouldn't ask 4 or 5 different people what order I should watch the films in, and I get 5 different answers.
Yeah,
So then it's like, okay, you know what? Screw it all. It's on Disney Plus now. I'm gonna watch it in Disney Plus order.
you know
Uh, and Empire Strikes Back, absolutely phenomenal.
that's a
Loved
great
it.
flick.
Loved it. I didn't remember much of it from when I watched it the first time
No shit.
years ago. It's like 15, 16 years ago that I finally sat down and watched it. But I loved it. Loved
Cool.
it. Absolutely loved
Well,
it.
Empire's. Oh my God, Empire's probably one of the one. It might be the best Star Wars movie out there. As far as Lord of the Rings goes, I mean, I had the books. I read them when I was young. I still have them. I don't read them much anymore. There's a lot of you're going to get a lot of the geeks that are going to be like, oh, the books were so different from the movies. I mean, what book isn't different from the movie? By the way, Bambi watched Lord of the Rings for
For
the
the men.
men, and we have Tim. Tim actually agrees with Bambi. So Tim, kudos to you for standing up for the rights of everyone who finds men that look like they've been dropped out of the back of a hay wagon and running around with swords attractive. So that's good. But no, the Lord of the Rings, they were fun movies because I think at the time they were kind of going a little more forward with the digital
Yeah.
aspect of movies and stuff because there were some really cool battle scenes in that. There were really cool battle scenes. Um, I think the CGI and everything was really good. But like I said, I'm not really a Tolkien traditionalist. I don't I don't get on my knees and thank everything that Tolkien existed. I mean, I don't give a shit. I thought the movies were fun. Do I think they're one of the greatest movies? No, but I'm definitely a Star Wars guy. I've been a Star Wars guy my whole life. But yeah, I see what you're saying about the Lord of the Rings. But the Mandalorian, you've been watching that, right? Like have you been
No,
keeping up
no,
with that?
because that's not where I am right now.
That's not where you are.
Yeah. So I'm still I paused on the Star Wars stuff.
Okay.
To be honest, not because I wasn't enjoying it, because I was 100% enjoying it. I started watching them while I was out on paternity leave after my youngest son was born. When I was just staying up until ungodly hours. So now that's kind of got cut back, starting out the new website. So I kind of had to pause that for a second because I've got to get caught up on some of the newer stuff for review purposes and just general conversations that you need to have about the up and coming stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But absolutely going to get back to Star Wars this month. This
Cool.
month will happen.
I'm gonna give you. I mean, obviously, The Mandalorian was great. I mean, it's continually being great. But one thing, as far as the Star Wars movies go, and a lot of people give me a lot of shit for this, but I thought that The Phantom Menace was one of the best movies, one of the best Star Wars movies they ever put out. I mean, it took a lot of flack in the beginning when they redid when they started like the new movies they call the original trilogy, the prequel
Right.
trilogies. This is part of the prequel. But I really thought it was cool because it was that first movie that gave a breath of fresh air to like a backstory to why the Star Wars stuff was. I mean, we
Right.
could go deep into this, and I'm not gonna because I'll get yelled at by Tim for messing everything up and not having it right.
Yes.
Timmy's the Star Wars guy, man. I'm not even gonna pretend that I hold the knowledge that he does. But Bambi says she watched all the older ones but she's never watched the newer one. So I guess you should, Bambi, if you're going to make a
Yeah, get
comment
there.
and back it up a little bit out there in Harpersville, New York. There's a shout out to Harpersville.
First of
Great.
all, what you say Harpersville?
Harpersville, yes,
Where the
Harpersville.
hell is Harpersville?
Well, I'll give you when I learn how to do this shared screen thing like Dave does and you guys do when you can do your thing. I'll get up the map because I'm going to have to because a lot of these places are going to sound obscure to a lot of the people that watch this. But Harpersville basically
Population
is,
4.
I think there might be 7 people there. And there's a general store. Believe it or not, they still have a general store.
Oh, general store. Look at
A
that.
general store. I don't know what it used to be called, the bread and butter. I think now I don't even know what the hell it's called, but
That just
yeah,
sounds
Harpersville's
like
about
it should be in a horror movie somewhere with people running into that general store away from the monster or whatever it is and
well,
dying there.
well, I mean, you would have like a plethora of monsters coming out of Harpersville. I mean, I've seen some pretty scary shit come through there. Harpersville is about 15 miles west of Deposit. Um, and it's the home, yes, as Brain Strauss says, it's the home of the famous giraffe. Now, you might know about this, Steve. There is a place in Harpersville, probably right down the road from where Bambi lives. Actually, it's down the road from my uncle's farm, not the Rush song with the red barchetta. Um, it's called Animal Adventure. And do you remember a few years ago when Toys R Us had that big deal with the giraffe and it was being born and all
Yep.
that shit? That happened right over the hill right here in Harpersville.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
that's what put Harpersville on the map, a giraffe.
There's pop
So
culture for you.
that's a little pop culture for you.
Pop
See how,
culture happening in Harpersville.
yeah, out of all places. Oh, Bambi's 5. My wife got real drunk and stayed in the apartment above that store. Sweet. Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, because they're in Green, which is, not far. Everything around here it's like the small town, like little thing. Like you can get this back road goes here and then that back road goes
Like
there.
one stoplight and
One stoplight, dirt road, 17 dogs. Just people drive skid steers down the road, take their kids to school. I don't know. It's just
it reminds so being from the big city, from New York, and I mean even down here, it's a metropolitan area. Broward County is a huge area down here. 2005-ish, so about 15 years ago, I went for work. I had to go to one of our sister sites, so I was already down here. Had to go to Ada, Oklahoma.
Holy shit.
Exactly. So I'm this guy I'm from Brooklyn. I don't know anything about these small towns, right? I don't know shit about any of this. So first of all, had a connecting flight in Dallas, and then I gotta get onto this tiny airplane with 3 rows of seats, 2 seats on the left, 1 row of single seats on the right.
Oh
And
my
me,
God.
standing an enormous 5'11", I had to duck as I walked through the plane. So imagine you probably had to crawl on your hands and knees. So I have one of the seats on the left. You got to go on the tarmac, which I've never done before, and
Oh
walk
my
up the
God.
stairs for the plane. You know, like
Did the
what
Big
is the?
Bopper
Where
greet
am
you
I?
and friggin' Buddy Holly riding a plane? I mean, Jesus
Right.
Christ.
On the plane, I'm like, is this thing gonna get off the ground? It's like a toy plane. So, all right, so we get off the ground, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a short flight. We'll get there in no time. Um, land, get my rental car, and we land in Oklahoma City, and Ada is about an hour and a half drive
Holy Christ.
out from there. And I landed about this. So it was in August. Landed about 7:30. So I'm about to start. It's about to get dark. I'm in this tiny little town I'm headed to, and the last of the lights I remember seeing. So I'm driving on the highway, and I see Oklahoma City behind me, and that's it. Ahead it was nothing but darkness. So it's this long, turns into this very long dirt road, and I'm
Ooh.
like, they don't even put pavement down here. What is? I'm gonna, God knows what's coming out of these woods over here. And every so often, there's a sign with an arrow pointing ahead, Ada. Okay, so at least I'm on the right track here, right?
So they let you know you're at least going the right way.
Yeah. So I get there and I get to the hotel. I'm okay. There's one Walmart. There's a Chili's in town. That's it. Drove past this Mexican restaurant. Windows all busted out. Like God knows what happened there.
Oh boy.
So the next day I'm warned about, instead of stray dogs, there's stray cows. I'm like, this is completely foreign to me. This is what the tornado warning sounds like, the siren. I was like, I better
No.
not hear that at all. And this is what you do in a tornado. We don't have tornadoes in Brooklyn.
No.
It doesn't happen.
No.
So I was weary about all that stuff. Of course, I'm there and a front is coming through. There's storms in the area. I'm like, of course, there's gonna be a tornado outbreak while I'm here. That's it. It'd be perfect. But we there were no tornado issues, thankfully. But there's that one. It's the one party Walmart. I went there at 12 o'clock at night to get some toiletries, and there's just like all these people out there with the 40s in the parking lot, and I'm like, oh, look at this shit.
In Oklahoma?
In Oklahoma.
Oh my
Ada,
God.
Oklahoma. And
Ada,
they're not wearing any socks, no shoes out in the park, all that stuff. But on the way back, I need gas. And I stop at a gas station and I don't see, I'm like, where do I insert my card? And I go inside and I say, hey, I'm trying to pay for the gas here on my card. And he's like, oh, we don't take credit cards. What do you mean you don't take credit cards? It's 2005.
that
Where am
technology
I?
hasn't reached here yet.
So right. So I said, where's the closest gas station? I'm about 50 miles to empty. Where's the closest gas station? About 35 miles up. All right. I'm gonna take this chance here. So I made it with about 10 miles to spare on the gas tank, and it was just the worst experience for a city guy. Just the worst.
What you said could have been an intro to like Cold Case Files. Like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? It's like, and then you have like, like your sister going like, and that's the last time I talked to Steve. He was 35 miles from a gas station and I had never seen my brother again.
Exactly.
And then Bill Curtis goes like, in July of 2014, a man came up with, you know what I mean? It's like it's like that's how they all end up,
like the investigation, discovery, those type of flicks. Yeah.
Yeah. You get, and you got to be careful with shit like that, because I'll tell you something. There's an app on anything. I was going to say the Roku, but it's on frickin' anything, your phone. The Pluto TV, the free TV.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. They have the cool channels that play continuously, but as you know, or as you get watching them, they kind of play the same episodes on a 24 to 36 hour loop, which is fine.
Yeah.
But they have a Cold Case Files channel. And my God, you're scrolling through it and you start up and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. Then, next thing you know, it's like 3 a.m. and you're like this, like, oh my God.
Yes.
Well, no, look, dig in the backyard. he was back there. That's where
That's what happened last episode.
Yeah. Holy Christ! I did that with Doctor Who. I ended up watching the whole Key of Time series, and I hadn't
Oh
seen it
wow.
in years. Yeah. Do you like Doctor Who?
I've dipped my toes in the water there with Doctor Who, but real quick, getting back to the cold case type stuff on Investigation Discovery, which is a lot of our favorite channel. That cold
Oh yeah.
case type stuff. Nightmare Next Door.
Mm-hmm.
The one that got me, and I used to mess around with my wife all the time, was Who the Bleep Did I Marry? Or Killer Women, right? I
That
used
one
to be
messed
like,
up
I
too.
need to watch all these because I need to get ahead of any idea you may have to take me out.
Yeah, I got to
I'm
prepare.
going to monitor every day. I'm going to call my life insurance and see if the policy's been increased. I'm going to sniff my food. Get out of here with all that.
Oh, we haven't had ants in years, honey. Why do we have all this tarot everywhere?
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. Speaking of that, City Confidential. Let's get real. Let's go deep pop culture here. Let's go back to when people actually watched cable television, when people actually had to wait for certain episodes to happen. Like you didn't obviously everybody today has the luxury of just getting on Amazon and going, okay, I'm gonna click that and watch this.
Right.
Now City
Yeah, that's
Confidential was great. Do you remember that?
I can't place it.
Yeah, well, it's Paul Winfield, a veteran actor. He's since passed
Okay.
away. He had a very distinct voice, and it was City Confidential was like a twist kind of story that you would go to a certain city, say Georgia. This one in Georgia is the particular one that I'm talking about, and this woman, this beautiful woman, this well-to-do woman, had worked her way up from nothing, got herself a restaurant, married, had a couple kids, and all of a sudden the child gets sick, dies. Or no, first the husband gets sick and dies. Everybody's oh no, blah blah blah. Then the daughter gets sick and dies. Then the other daughter gets sick and dies. Then the mother-in-law gets sick and dies. And everybody's and this poor woman, they're all like fretting over this woman who's lost everything, and come to find out she's putting taro ant killer in all their food, and they're slowly freaking dying, and suffering a horrid death. Like, what in the hell? Paul Winfield was killed by the Terminator. Good
Yes.
pop culture
Yes.
reference, Tim. He actually
Very
was.
good.
He actually was. Now, Paul Winfield had a very distinct voice. He talked kind of like this. He would say, "But what was in the food and what was making everyone sick? Come to find out, that. But it was so great the way
Right.
it went. I actually think wasn't Paul Winfield. I might be wrong. The Kingpin in the 1994 animated Spider-Man series. I almost think he was.
I do want to say I'm going to agree with you on that. And the distinct voice that reminds me of Forensic Files.
Mm-hmm.
That guy.
It's similar to that.
I can't. I always forget his name, but that guy made me want to watch Forensic Files. I see that they just kind of rebooted it, and there's new episodes. But I don't want to watch it because I know he passed away, and it's not his voice.
It ruins the whole goddamn thing.
Unless we get a hologram type thing with the voice going.
Oh,
Thanks,
Barbara. Barbara's she's an original, and she'll devise. Well, boy, here we go.
Hey, look, that's my mom, and she knows my wife.
She knows your
and
wife.
those are my two kids right there, by the way.
Oh, wow. Well,
Under the
say
tree.
hello to Mom. Hello, Mom. Thank you for tuning in. That's great. Steve's mom is watching this. This is awesome. Cheers in an empty glass.
This is great.
I'm all out of my Mountain Dew there. I bought the cheap store brand Mountain Dew.
Like the neon. That matches the color of your logo.
It does. and I kind of got it close with the color scheme with the with this down here to this up here.
Yes.
By the way, logo. Let's do a shout out to my brother who did the logo. He does that for a living, and he's a graphic artist, and he designed my logo and designed that thing. He does that for a lot of people too. So
very cool. Yeah,
it's very cool.
Maybe I'll use him. Maybe I'll reach out. Got a couple of logos we need to make.
Absolutely, reach out to him, Steve. He would do it for you 100%. Shoot him a message anytime you want. He'd be more than willing to do it. Mike's a cool dude.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. So I guess in pertaining to pop culture here and pertaining to everyday life, COVID-19 has really, really, not if the country wasn't divisive before. I mean, it really is now.
For sure.
Sad to say that it's like that now, but being that we're on an up spike, we're on an uptick of cases. Deaths, from what I see, aren't as bad. I mean, I know certain areas are bad, but it seems overall that we're uh, dishing better medicine and better care. So hopefully that's going to be, hopefully that's the real case. I don't know, but what do you think? I mean, there is the whole talk now. I mean, you're seeing every now and then you're seeing a news spot where they say, well, the case is here to get. They're kind of dwindling, and the thing that's coming up now is the vaccine, and
Yep.
you got Pfizer, Moderna, and what the other one there does not Johnson and Johnson. Well, they're coming, but the other one. So how do you, you and I both live in areas that were affected, first and second at a high rate. Now, how do you think? Are you on board with wanting, or um, say for you or your family, are you on board with maybe taking one of these vaccines to get this thing under control, or do you think it's like a lot of people say, and I'm not gonna say it's right or wrong, but a lot of people are wary about it. How do you feel? Where you stand on that?
Well, look, if the scientists out there are saying it's safe and what look, I know a lot of the divisiveness that goes on in this country is has to deal with politics, right?
100%, 100%,
Something like this should have never been spun politically. This is,
absolutely.
life and death. I don't care who's in the White House. I don't care. I have my political beliefs. I vote the way I vote.
Hmm.
But it doesn't matter if Donald Trump is in the White House. It doesn't matter if Barack Obama is in the White House. This is some messed up shit, right?
Yeah, it
And
sucks.
and it and again, scientists should have led this charge the entire time.
Absolutely.
If the scientists are saying let's go ahead with the vaccine,
Hmm.
then I'm on board, and I shouldn't be among the first to get it.
No.
And the way
Oh
that
no.
they're doing things, the way that they're doing things is, they're taking it one step at a time, and frontline healthcare workers absolutely should get the first
1,000%.
first vaccines, right? And then when you think about it, and not making it political,
No,
this is the
no.
United States, how we handled it. No matter who was in the White House, no matter who was in charge,
Mhm.
we were just ranked 18th among COVID response, which for this amazing, phenomenal country, we have not been in top, first, second, third place. Look, we heard about all this vaccine, and then yesterday it gets announced that the UK is going forward. Moving forward with their vaccine, and it's probably going to start next week.
Yeah, yeah. It's
There, so
here.
like it's twofold, right? With the vaccine, so
Yeah,
it's super disappointing that we were not the first to get this done, right? Uh,
absolutely.
but but though they say it's 94% effective, all these studies started back in March. You read some of these things and you listen to some of these
Clearly.
podcasts. Some of the people that were in the first test happened in March,
Hmm.
and they said that it was, they got muscle soreness,
Yeah,
maybe a slight fever. So it's kind of like the flu vaccine in that way.
mild symptoms, I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and like my mom said there, Dr. Fauci said he will get it, and so will his family. And if somebody like a Dr. Fauci and these esteemed scientists who don't have the connection politically, Fauci's been in administrations dating back to Reagan. He was working with the AIDS virus,
Yeah, and he's a
for crying
he's a
out loud.
virologist, whatever it is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, whatever it is, that's what he is.
So,
Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so I mean, I get the not wanting to shut things down. The thing that I don't get is, you know, the people that are saying you're making me wear a mask, you're taking away my freedom.
No,
Stop. My point on that is, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican. There are dumbasses on both sides.
absolutely.
Wear the mask. It's an inconvenience for a few minutes while you're in a store.
Yeah,
You want to
and
go to
it's
a
not.
restaurant? Go to the restaurant. Sit down outside. You go to you sit down at the table. You take the mask off. Your server has a mask. He's got a shield. He's protect. It's more. It's for the people that you're around
Hmm.
and yourself. Like
It is.
I go somewhere, and because you have to go places.
Yeah, you got
You
to live your
can't
life.
you can't do this stuff. But if I go somewhere, or if there's a potential that I was exposed,
Hmm.
I'm not going near my mom. My mom is high risk.
Hmm.
There's high risk people, and then there's the people that are just doing willy nilly, and then hanging out with whoever, and then going to this event, going to that event. Having the Hasidics up in Brooklyn, 10,000 people at a wedding. It's one year. People going overboard with the Thanksgiving. Have your Thanksgiving. Have your family there.
Yeah,
If you want to have more people, go outside, wear masks. Just protect yourself.
yeah.
But
It's
the
almost.
shutdown thing, sorry, but
No, go ahead. No, no, no.
the shutting down of certain areas, I get it impacts finances, and it impacts jobs, and it impacts how you can pay your rent, and it impacts how you pay your mortgage. But the thing that totally befuddles me is that other countries were taking care of the citizens, and they did not have that worry.
No,
We're constantly saying this is the greatest country in the world, right?
right.
And that's great. We could say that we're patriotic, but the fact of the matter is we lagged so far behind in the response to this thing, and then you hear some of the things that went on may or may not have gone on early on, but had we shut down early on in this thing, we might be all good by now. We might
I
have
agree.
been able to go out to Rockefeller Center and go see the Christmas tree,
I agree.
or
I
had a
agree
Thanksgiving
100%.
Day parade. So
That was great.
now we're extended out, right? So hopefully all this stuff comes to fruition early next year as we get the vaccine out there to everybody.
I do too, Steve. I got to agree with you on about every point you made because the thing is, it is too bad that this was made political, and it is too bad that and I'm saying we as a country, I think that we as people dropped the ball because my opinion is that the word freedom is being thrown around so fair weatherly. It's like
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people truly, and I'm not saying this as I'm this prolific first, second amendment, third amendment, all the amendment. I am not an expert on that, but what I am saying is you know you can throw big words around like freedom and constitutional rights and this and that, but really understanding what freedom is and using that as your excuse to why you don't want to wear a mask, it kind of doesn't make any sense because you're almost talking an apple and an orange because it's not your freedom being taken away. You have the freedom, but you are also free not to go to that store
Right.
and or that place and shop. They don't have to. You know what I mean? A mask. It's proven that a mask eliminates what 75, 80% of anything coming out of your mouth. I mean, nothing is nothing is 100%. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
and my wife is she's a registered nurse. I mean, she's not working in a hospital, thankfully, because that that'd be devastating. But she's got to wear the N95. She's got to wear the shield, and
Yeah,
when she gets off, she's got all the markings all over her face, and it's we shouldn't have to go through this. I mean, it happened. The virus got here.
it did.
Um, it for all intents and purposes, it doesn't matter anymore. We don't need to rehash all this stuff. Um,
Absolutely.
but to be honest with you, again, like I was saying earlier, there are some silver linings to this thing. I'm not downplaying the fact that there's 200 and some odd thousand people that have died.
No,
But
no,
for me, I don't know if even after I would get a vaccine, I might still wear a mask sometimes in a store. I love the fact that I can order from Uber Eats, have the guy drop it at my doorstep. I don't have to interact at
you
all.
don't have to talk anything.
The this is like a Seinfeld thing, but it's enough with the kiss on the cheek. Hello.
Yeah,
The I like the elbow bump.
I agree.
In all seriousness, it's a situation that hopefully this is going to go away soon. But had we taken the necessary steps, I do believe that we could have had a normal or semi-normal Thanksgiving, Christmas type deal here.
I think so too. And I my feeling is we're placing a little too much emphasis on you know who it's almost like my team is better than your team aspect of all this stuff that when it comes to the politics. And it's unfortunate that politics had to interject into this whole COVID thing, because I truly believe in the clever and intelligent people that are in these companies, these scientists, these professors, these researchers that are on top of. People don't realize there are top level people in their profession working on this, and I want to have faith in them, because I believe that I believe in them. If they tell me, if they're telling me it's Fauci or Dr. whoever is saying this Pfizer vaccine is 97 point whatever percent effective, who am I to question? He's a professional in his
Yeah,
field. I mean, there is no conspiracy out there. Let's
it's
just
his
get that
life
out.
work. It's his life's work, and
It's his
he's
life work.
not a young kid. He's done
This
this a
guy's
long
probably
time.
up, what, 48 hours at a time before even going back to bed. And like, who am I to question that? It's like, I am not I want to place my faith in him, because
Right.
there is no conspiracy there's what, that's not, we have to pull together somehow. Ultimately, what I'm saying is we have to pull together somehow. We have to have some sort of faith in our fellow human, which I know has dropped and I know has lacked, because I've seen it myself. Where I work in retail, and I encounter different walks of life every single day, different opinions, different
Yep.
religions, different outlooks, different everything. And everybody all together, has their opinion. But at some point, Steve, we have to have faith in these scientists and the
Right.
people that are putting out. I mean, say your grandmother or your aunt takes, medicine for diabetes. I mean, are you going to question the company and the guy that came up with that's keeping her alive? No, you wouldn't do that.
Right.
So I don't
Same line.
understand
Yes.
why it's a big
Same.
deal. Everybody says, well, it took 2 years to make this, thing, or it takes 2 years to make a flu vaccine, or a three. Well, yes and no. I mean, if it changes every year, then they have to change the flu vaccine every year,
Right.
correct?
It's
That's
always
a window of,
slightly
yeah,
different concoction.
concoction. So that's a window of 6 to 9 months. So who are we to say that it doesn't take 6 to 9 months to make a vaccine for this? These are smart people who have been in, like you said, have worked with AIDS, have worked with hepatitis, have worked with Ebola. I
Yeah.
mean, they know so much more about this than we do. I can't, with good faith say, well, I don't think they know what they're talking about. I mean, I just can't, because I stack shelves in a grocery store and I make stupid jokes at people all day. I'm not an
Right.
expert in that.
Right.
So
And
that's where I stand. I'll be honest with you. I want to travel again. I love going to the city. Everybody knows I love the city. I love spending time with Timmy. That's one of my favorite absolute things to do in life. I love going down and visiting. I like going down into Pennsylvania. I like going like to Massachusetts, and I just generally like going around the country and seeing things. So if that's going to enable me to be able to do that, then I'm all for it, and
Exactly.
I'm willing to do it. And I would, I want my kids to be able to go to school. I want my aunt, my grandmother to be able to go play bingo again. I mean, these are things that
All
shouldn't
the
be
little
denied.
things, right?
All the little
All the
things. That's
the
what
big
everybody.
things and the little things, right? So like, and I get, I'll get to David's comment here in a second, but I, you know, this is my last year of my 30s.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have been able to go here and go there, and what I don't even know when I'm about to turn 40 whether or not I can take a little trip and
yeah,
have fun or feel safe.
yeah.
But like David said in the comments, just because it's their profession doesn't mean we shouldn't question things. Yeah, we should always
Okay.
question things.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we shouldn't just
Okay.
blindly here stick me.
100%. But
But I think we are doing that as a country, whether it's the right way of doing it or the wrong way of doing it. But you don't get on an airplane and go to the pilot and sit down and interview him. You know, I know it's extreme, but we
no,
are in
Steve, that's
it
exactly it.
right because our lives in their hands, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we're blindly trusting every pilot every time we've gone on an airplane or a bus or a train. Uh, we Our life and the lives of our family, friends, and whatnot are in
Are
their
in-
hands. You know,
yeah.
the drunk pilots from years ago. You know,
I can make a
yeah, definitely question everything, but
yeah.
there's a limit to it.
I can make a Seinfeld. We can turn this funny here. I can make a Seinfeld reference here, just to lighten the mood on this.
Seinfeld, the best references.
Jerry, remember Jerry when he and Kramer were in the whole fruit and vegetable thing? He goes,
Mm.
Jerry said, "Buying fruit's a gamble. I know that going in." So
Exactly, because Kramer wanted to return the peaches,
you wanted to return.
the Mackinac peaches.
So yeah. So and nobody's wrong about how they feel. I'm just trying to give, like you are, a different perspective on maybe something that can bring us together to conquer this thing. Because ultimately, we all have the same thing in mind. We want this thing gone. We want this thing gone. We want to get back to somewhat of a normal life. Because as everybody loves to point out, nothing's ever going to be the same. Well, nothing ever is the same anyway. So
Yeah,
it's going to be. We can make this good, and we can make this better. So I'm working towards myself. I'm working towards making things better. So that's way. Oh,
that's the
look,
way we got to do it.
look at this. Your mother, and now, oh, damn right, Steve, my sister. Hello, Julie.
Hey, all in the family, baby. All in
All
the
in the
family.
family day. Oh, this is great. Hello, Julie. So yeah. So anyway, Steve, let's let's get on to something a little more fun here. Let's get on to something a little more fun here. Why don't
Lighten the
we
mood.
let's
Giddy
lighten
up.
the mood up a little bit. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and why they're the
Wait,
greatest
wait.
ever.
I feel like I'd rather talk about COVID.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear. No, seriously, Steve, you're a big Marvel fan. You're big into the Marvel movies, right?
Yep.
Tell me how you felt about. I'll simplify it for you. Why don't you give me what was your favorite movie of the X-Men series? What movie did you like the best and why?
Oof. You know, I X-Men I learned about later on in life. Look at Bert talking about the
Oh,
Eagles.
we gotta put it up. We gotta put it up. There you go. The Eagles. Hey, Bert's like my Ed McMahon, so he has to.
What I
You
thought
know,
Timmy was going to be your Ed McMahon.
Timmy's my Doc Severinsen. Yeah, he's my band leader there. But uh yeah, I see. I'll tell you why I ask you this because I'm
Yeah.
I'm a huge comic book fan. I've collected comics since I was young. Unfortunately, I don't have a giant collection anymore because for one reason or another, I've ended up selling a lot of them. But be that as it may, I was the X titles were always a favorite of mine. And when the movies came out, I was like, that was early fanboy days. Like I can almost call it like the early years of the internet when you could like there were those obscure like movie review things and those obscure like websites where they talk about stuff. But when the X Men movies came out, it was when the comic industry took a dive in the mid '90s, and it started coming back slowly in the late '90s, early 2000s. I think in particular because of the movies,
Yeah.
particularly the X Men movies. I don't think Spider Man did much for it, but I think the X movies did with that. But that's another. We can debate that, to hell. But like I said, I was always a fan of the X titles. I was a giant Wolverine fan, still am. I had nearly I had all the Wolverine solo titles. I had all of his appearances in like Marvel Comics Presents. I had all the Uncanny X-Men. I had the X-Men series from the 90s. I had his limited run, his second run, his first run, his second run. Be that as it may, I was always and I still am a huge X-Men fan. That's why I'd like to know your opinion. What when obviously when it came into the made into movies, what which one you like the best out of the X? And it could be from the first one in the '90s to the most recent one, a couple years ago. So
Yeah.
what were
So
you?
so and I have no idea that I have not thought about this person in forever. But
Mm,
I want to say it was it sixth grade. I want to say sixth grade math. My math teacher, I was already into comics, Marvel, and all that stuff. But my math teacher that year had just cabinets full of comic books, and
wow.
she would give them out. Get 100 on a test. You get go blindly pick two comics. You got to turn your head, pick out two comics there.
What an
I think
awesome teacher.
that's phenomenal. Her name was Mrs. Pollock. She one of my favorite math teachers for obvious reasons.
Oh,
But I Wolverine's my guy. So Logan, the movie Logan, was just absolutely phenomenal. I loved everything about it. Um, every detail of that movie was just phenomenal. And then add to it that it was rated R, and
mm-hmm.
kind of set the stage for the Deadpools and what we will see moving forward with some of these rated R comic book flicks.
Yeah.
So I'd have to bullet to my brain, gun to the head.
Gun to the head.
I go with Logan on that. Huge Wolverine fan. I will say that I don't know what happened to all my comic books. I do have some. I have some of the like I have Spider Man's 9/11 comic book.
Ah.
I have a couple of copies of the Death of Superman.
Oh wow. I did too.
That era, that kind of stuff. And I remember my mom we used to have. Do you remember those? And they still have them. Do you remember those the food vacuum sealers? So you put the
Oh
food
yeah.
in there, and then
Oh yeah.
you close it up, and it sucks all the air to keep it fresh. So
Yep.
she did that to my comic books, and I am forever thankful for that. At the time, I was like, man, I can't read these things anymore.
Oh,
But no, so I have somewhere in the garage, somewhere that there's a handful of comics. So yeah,
Logan too, and Burr, by the way.
Logan. I I can't say enough about that film. It's really difficult to come up with any negatives, and if you do come up with any negatives about Logan, it's real nitpicky, right? But
It is.
just
It's almost a
phenomenal.
below the belt jab if you do that to that movie because that really I think it encompassed his character. What and it not only did that, but it really did follow that old man Logan story a little
Yeah.
bit. And I thought it was fantastic myself, and I loved how they introduced uh, you know uh, Laura or not Laura, yeah, ex. X20. What the hell? X22.
Yes.
Better name. I
X
love
two.
how
X2.
X2. I love how they introduced her and they arced her character throughout that whole thing. It was great. But my personal favorite, because I'm also a Sabretooth guy.
Okay.
I had his limited comics, and I had all his appearances. I had his first appearance in Iron Fist. I had the series with the Morlocks when he turned on Caliban and he broke out of his things with Kitty Pryde. That was a great series too. But I liked X-Men Origins Wolverine. I really really liked that movie
Well,
because
yeah.
and I
I
like
mean, when you're a Wolverine guy,
yeah
and anything that is full throttle Wolverine, yeah, it's hard to beat.
I mean, that movie would start to finish just bang, bang, bang. I mean, you had Liev Schreiber, who was a phenomenal actor, um, and I thought they complemented each other well in the nemesis that they were being portrayed as. I thought he did a phenomenal Victor Creed. I really, really did. I liked him.
I mean,
I
he
liked
was
him better
great.
than Tyler Mane. I did,
Yeah,
but
Bert saying in the comment they released so many of the Death of Superman issues. I don't even like I don't remember that stuff. Like they issued X amount of these, but I just remember seeing, man, shit,
they,
Superman dead.
they, they did. There was a lot, but I had the Spider-Man 9/11 one. I also had Steve. You're gonna shoot me. I was a Spider-Man collector too, and I had like Amazing Spider-Man number like 36 to whatever number in like 1999. And then when Ultimate Spider-Man came out, remember how the rave of the Ultimates when the Ultimate came out? Um, I had Ultimate Spider-Man number one. I had variant cover number one and variant cover number one, number A. So I had the white cover, the blue cover, and the regular cover. I had two different variants of number 50. I mean, I had all these. I had on. Remember the Wolverine Origins series, the comic books that came out, the six of
Yeah,
them. I
yeah.
had. I
That
had.
might have actually, I can't pinpoint, but that might be the start of where I just fell in love with. Wolverine was my favorite X-Men guy. Spider-Man, my favorite Marvel guy. Still is. My son adores. He loves Spider-Man. Um, and my little guy now. He's. It's just gonna happen. It's a natural thing. Um,
That's so awesome.
but yeah, I mean, you take me back because everybody's love. So these movies weren't coming out as quickly as every year there's a new Marvel movie, and every year it makes $1 billion.
Dollar.
Couple $1 billion.
Oh
But
yeah.
it all started, in its simplest form. It
Mm-hmm.
all started in the comic books,
Yep.
and Stan Lee, his vision. We so many of us can dedicate our young lives and who we've become as we get older to Stan Lee.
I
That's what it all boils down to me for.
I agree with that 1,000%. Growing up, you're a little younger. You're 5 years younger than me. So when I was about 6 or 7,
That's it.
um, that's it. That's it. That's the end. The Do you remember Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends? Remember that cartoon? And then they had the
Yeah.
Incredible Hulk. And then years later they came out with like Bert or David commented the X-Men animated series from the '90s. What a phenomenal cartoon!
Yeah.
What a phenomenal cartoon! I still watch it. It's still one of my favorites.
It's
But
brilliant because now I can show my 9-year-old son. I can
yeah,
show him this is what I used to watch. The Amazing
yeah,
Spider-Man, all that stuff from back in the night. The you want to take it a step further, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all this stuff. They're starting to rehash, and it is the greatest. Like He-Man. So
He-Man. I was going to mention He-Man.
He-Man. Are you kidding me?
For Christ's
He-Man. I
sake.
used to. I was obsessed with He-Man. I had all the toys and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah.
And as you get into fatherhood,
Mhm.
it's a tremendous amount of joy to watch your kids Let me show you He-Man. Have you ever heard of He-Man? No. Well, you're gonna hear He-Man right now. So you jump on YouTube. They have the full episodes out there, and you just watch. And it's it's cool to see. Watching your son watch what you watched 30 years ago,
Oh my God,
and it's
it's the
just an
best
awesome
feeling,
feeling.
best feeling ever. My boys, I can even get them to watch, and they're picky. They're gamers. They love the Switch. They're Switch guys and Nintendo Switch guys, so they're all
Yeah.
into that. They love Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Nick's real good at it, and he always kicks my ass at Mario Kart too, which pisses me off.
And it's legitimate, right? You're not letting him win.
No, no, no. I have no fucking chance against him at all. I mean, he wipes the goddamn floor with me. Um, there's a booger hanging out of your nose. I got it, Julie. Um, the the but I turned them on to like He-Man and like and let's go down the rabbit hole here of Filmation. The Filmation studio that produced some of those cartoons like the He-Man, the She-Ra, Fat Albert. They did Fat
Oh,
Albert.
Fat Albert, baby!
How
Wow.
great was Fat Albert? Oh my God, that was the greatest cartoon. But like they also did this one called Brave Star. Do you remember Brave Star?
Brave
He
Star.
he was a Native American who called upon the spirit animals, like he'd get the strength of the bear,
Very, very familiar. The Strength of the Bear. That
speed of the puma. Oh, it was so fun. And how about a fun fact? How about we drop a fun fact that well we have a request here. Stop swearing. Darn it all to heck.
Yeah.
Julia, darn it all to heck. We'll stop flipping swearing. How's that? For now. But
Is she up in like Harpersville?
no, Julie is actually in the outskirts of Deposit in a small hamlet called Stylesville, which is basically a mile outside of Deposit.
Anything with Ville in the name of it, I don't want any part of that.
You're gonna stay right where you are.
Look, I'd rather. I'm good in South Florida.
But no, Filmation was so cool because they had that distinct animation. Like they redid the cells, like on certain shots. You know what I mean? Because it looked cheesy, but actually, when you think back on it, it's really nostalgic. And they all kind of had that they all like kind of looked at the same. Like even Brave Star, He-Man kind of looked in the same direction when they talked, and the runaway scenes were all kind of the same. But it was so cool because like these characters that they had, like I said, like Brave Star. But what I was going to drop was Ghostbusters. Okay, now the story with Ghostbusters is Filmation originally had a live action series in the 70s called The Ghostbusters. I think it's Columbia bought the rights when Reitman and Aykroyd and Ramis were writing the thing, and they had to acquire the rights to the name from Filmation, which I don't know if they did or not. Because is there a town named Withdrawal?
was trying to say-
Barbara, if there isn't, I really hope there. I hope there is. I don't know of one, but I really hope there is. So, but Ghostbusters was actually Filmation before it was a big movie and then the cartoon and everything. Filmation actually came up with that. So, and they actually did a cartoon in the 80s that capitalized on the fame, and it's kind of corny, but it is kind of fun too because it's so cheesy. It's cool. So
well, that's like He-Man. I don't remember what they called it, but at the end of the episode, when they give a tip of how to be a good boy and girl.
the little moral, yeah, the moral of the story.
Yeah, the moral. When I was watching with my son, now in my 30s, I'm like, man, that was so corny, but I bought into it, hook, line, and sinker.
Oh yeah, no, when you're, some of us have bad days. When you
Yeah, exactly.
it's like it's like or like the drug one, like in He-Man when that girl was taking the upper to get her flipping around all the time, she like crash like
I was like, He-Man.
Yeah, then he'd come out. That was so great. He-Man was great. And now did you read I don't know if you posted it or David or Gil, maybe Tim. Did you post the He-Man the voice actor credits?
No, I did see that though.
Well, I got a bone to pick with it because that Kevin Michael Richardson guy, great talent. He's got a very distinct voice, but he almost uses the same voice in every single thing that he does. Like, I'll give you an example. He was the big fish guy, alien guy in Lilo and Stitch in the
Yep.
movie and in the series. He does he did the Juggernaut and Ultimate Spider. He's all over the place. He's got a very distinct voice. Now, Michael Masika.
Close. Close
Well,
enough.
I don't know how you say his last name, but I'm sorry about that, Mike, if I'm butchering your name. He said, he goes, but because I made a comment that I just said that he has the same kind of voice. But he said, we'll give it, he goes, don't you think that's perfect for Beastman? And I got thinking about it because I was driving home and I was driving and texting at the same time. And I said, you know what?
Brilliant.
I said he probably would have. So I kind of I didn't retract it, but I said I'll give it a chance because now that I think about it, that might be the role that he was meant for was Beastman because he does have a very big growly voice. And Beastman, of course. Speaking of He-Man, by the way, do you remember the 2002 series that they did for a couple years on Cartoon Network?
No,
That's a
you know what? You
little
know
hidden
what?
gem.
Back in those days, I never got into the. Once I turned a certain age, I was like, I ain't watching this stuff. The Cartoon Network,
The cool guy day.
I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it was a unique thing to me or if you guys in the comments chime in on this. But I don't know if I was too cool, to watch that kind of stuff, Cartoon Network and all that. But I've never gotten into the Cartoon Network stuff. The what was the what was it? Was it Cartoon Network After Dark or what was it called?
Adult Swim.
Adult Swim. I
Yeah.
never
I
none
didn't
of
get
that
into that
stuff.
either.
Didn't
I
get
didn't
it.
do that either.
I was into South Park for a while. I was like South Park was my religion at one point.
Okay.
But outside of that, I never really watched any of those type of things on the Cartoon Network, and not even the adult things. The Adult Swim. I just never got into it.
I didn't get into it either. I can agree with you on that, but I got into when they redid like a nostalgic one, like when they did He-Man. I thought that was great. Now I
Yeah.
probably couldn't name you any of the new. I can name you one, and I'm gonna probably catch a bunch of shit for saying it because my kids a couple years ago, when I'd come up to visit or they'd come here, they're like they get on their cartoon or whatever, and this god awful friggin' cartoon called Uncle Grandpa came on. And I'm looking at my kids and I'm going, what in the hell is this? And they're just sitting there. They love it. And they're laughing their asses off at this guy. So I said, all right, I'll give it a shot. I'm watching it. You know how like when you get into something and like, all of a sudden you're like hypnotized and then you feel your brain melting out of the side of your ear, and then like your foot falls off. It's like that's how bad this friggin' show. It was so dumb, Steve. It was so dumb. But it was kind of funny. But it was one of those things that you could watch one episode and you're like, okay, I'm good on this. But
Yeah, like kind of like move it along, all right?
yeah, let's get something else going here. But the kids, it's so dumb, mindless. I mean, it was beyond that. It's not even like Rick and Morty level, which I've never watched. I've heard that it's good, but I've never watched it. My brother's into Rick and Morty.
Yeah, the Rick and Morty. There's a lot of people that are into that, and I just don't. I don't.
Yeah,
Don't see it.
I'm not into it. I can't take a bite out of that sandwich. There's probably mayonnaise on it. I won't eat it.
And
Um,
Dave wrote in the comments, weren't you the same guy going around flapping your arms like Randy Orton at 30? Well, look, Randy Orton and I, besides having the same physical build,
well,
we're right around the same age. I think he's
let's be
around
fair.
40.
You're built a little better than Randy Orton.
Thank you, a little.
There it is. There it is.
Boom.
Boom.
I Randy Orton's around my age. So
Yeah.
growing up, the youngest champion at the time ever.
Randy
So
Orton.
SummerSlam victory over Chris Benoit.
Hmm.
We're the same age, baby.
So you have a
I
kindred
got
spirit.
slightly more women, but we're the same age.
Now, can we just can we expostulate. Is that a word? Real quick on David's. Everyone, I'd like everyone to take notice to David Waukkee's profile picture. Now, if I've ever seen in my life one of those like Match.com or like, you know, single bearded White Claw drinker, you know, profile thing, like Dave, that is the biggest total pose I've ever seen in my life. For, I mean, you might as well be like what's that J. Crew or whatever, or the clothing store there, Baskin Robbins. I don't know what the hell it's called. But Dave, come on, you're gonna say that about the boss, and then you're gonna put a profile picture up like that with the Taj Mahal.
That's a green screen, by the way. You know, Dave doesn't go anywhere. Dave doesn't get to.
Anyway, Dave, I had to break your balls a little bit. Oh, wait a minute, we've been warned.
Look at Tim.
No wrestling talk. That's on another show. We're sorry, Tim. Tim, we're sorry. We once in a while we got to make a reference, but you know we'll try to keep it down.
Yeah, sorry, so, Tim. We're talking wrestling and Star Wars.
And Star Wars. We did both. I mean, we dropped
taken
both
from everything of you.
Chris who? Chris who? Who's the Chris? Did we mention a Chris? Oh, Benoit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the murderer.
We said that we mentioned the murderer. Well, you know what? Yeah, it's got. All we're missing is black cherry White Claw. Now think about that. Say that to yourself. Black cherry White Claw.
Dave, you're better than that. You're better than that. You are better than that.
Or David, my God, you know, there's if you're going to be a hipster, go get an IPA or something.
Right.
You know,
IPAs are great. I got to tell you, I enjoy myself an IPA. Not as much as I enjoy whiskey, but definitely enjoy an IPA.
Whiskey's pretty great. I'm not going to deny that, especially Scotch. I'm a Scotch drinker. I like Scotch. My friend Joe Shelton has a brewery, a little microbrewery startup. He's got his own business. It's called the Aurora Brewing Company. That's like a tongue-tied, fuck whatever. So, but he's got his own thing, and he sent me samples of his beer, and it's actually really good. Like I'm not a prolific IPA guy. Like I don't have like the Beechwood with a tinge of like lemon peel. Like it doesn't hit my tongue like that. I just drink the beer, you know, and I get a buzz and I go home. But actually, this is a really good beer, and you know, if I was smarter, I would have gotten in my refrigerator and plugged them a little more. So next show, I'll be sure and plug it. But I encourage people that live in that area or live in this area of upstate New York to go visit the Aurora Brewing Company and try my friend Joe's beer because it's really, really good.
There's this guy who has the exact same name as me, and he is up somewhere in Georgia, and he's got and it's a brewery. Yeah, you know, I'm a far superior man, athlete than he is, but I think it is pretty cool that he owns he has a brewery out there. And the other thing, I'm looking at Tim's comment. Eric, did you send your crush?
No, I didn't. But I'm gonna send him a TikTok later. Oh look. Steve, look, Joe's watching. Joe. That's him. That's Joe.
Joe, how do I get to try that? How do I get to try that IPA? I got to go up there.
We have fans like Steve, number one, and other guys, number two. I mean, these guys are all about it, Joe. They'll push your, and they live in South Florida. I mean, we could take you intercontinental here. You could be the intercontinental beer champion.
Sorry, boom. Tim. I mean, the beer looks fantastic in that picture.
It actually is. It's it's really good. It's a really good beer.
I'm trying to be patient, but I need Stone Cold's IPA available down here in South Florida. And listen, I love Stone Cold Steve Austin. What? I said I adore the guy. What? I really enjoy him. What? but it's not available down here, and I need to try it because he's out there. You know, when he's on the Broken Skull sessions with Taker and whatnot. Not only are they doing shots of Jack, but he's drinking his Broken Skull IPA. And you know, when somebody of my level, my importance, reaches out to you, I don't care who you are. If you're Stone Cold Steve Austin, you're The Rock, who
You get
you
back.
respond to me.
Yeah,
Like
right.
I've sent a couple of messages out to Stone Cold, and I'm
Yeah,
starting to feel a certain way. As bald brethren have to stick together.
my God, you would think that he'd want you on your team, very fast. That's now. I don't even know up here where I'd even begin to look for that. Like I've never even seen
No,
it.
it's only in certain areas. It obviously Texas is one of them. I'm kind of looking it up right now because I did that already, and it's kind of going westward. It's El Segundo Stone Cold IPA, but
That's
it's not.
it's coming the other
You
way.
can't right. You can't order it. It's just it's a little disappointing, and it gets great reviews. So I
It,
mean, Stone Cold is a beer. I mean, if Stone Cold Steve Austin knows about anything, it's beer.
if he
So
tells you the beer is good, Jesus, it's got to be good.
I'll blind buy. Send it to me. Ship it to me. I'll buy 2 cases of it. Hey, you need me to do it? I'll blind buy 2 cases of Stone Cold Steve Austin's beer. And this guy did not say, Booker T, tell me you didn't just say that, Dave.
Oh, what? Oh, what? Oh, thank you, Dave. Thank you. You're redeemed. But
No, no,
what's
no.
wrong?
He's trying to butter you up here.
He is. I don't know what I think he feels bad for those Texas tornado comments he's been making lately.
I was shocked and appalled
Thank
by
you.
the comments he made.
Can you believe they would come out of somebody's mouth about him like that? Comparing him to Kenny Omega? Come on.
Wow. I had a buddy of mine up in Brooklyn do we used to wrestle concrete, steel fences and whatnot. But
Wait.
in his living room one day, he just unloaded on his sister. They were wrestling. The sister was tomboy type thing, and she wanted to get into it. He hits the wall, which were the ropes. He twists and turns. Bah! And I was like,
I love it.
Great moment,
Oh my
childhood
God, I
memories.
love it. Steve, look at this. Joe gave us a link.
But does that work? Can I order
Work,
that?
Joe? Is it real? Does it work? And if
Don't
Joe
tease me.
get it, send it to me. I'll buy it from you. Send it to me. I'll pay for it, and I can send it to Steve because Steve has got to have this. I mean,
I gotta do it.
is he Steve? Joe, being that he's a beer guy, in the craft beer world that probably we're not allowed in. It's exclusive. Kind
Oh,
of
it's a
like
club.
White Claw Club.
Oh boy.
Yeah, which nobody wants any part of, but David.
First of all, White Claw. So a 12-pack of what is $95?
Oh, David,
Stone Cold's beer.
no, that's a 12-pack of his body wash. He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
That the gel that keeps it all together, right?
And by the way, Dave, while I'm thinking about it, okay, I've got a bone to pick with you. I wear a red jacket too, and where's this red jacket coming from all of a sudden? Come on.
It is a nice jacket.
It's a really nice jacket. But I want to say that being the leather jacket guy extraordinaire, I think Dave might be taking a card out of my what is that? The card catalog? That didn't make any sense. Whatever. That joke's done.
Eric is a member of the Claw Club. Wow, there's I don't know if he just created that, but I was gonna say that the every time I go into Publix, our supermarket down here, it feels like the White Claw area is expanding, and it makes me sad. It makes me sad because this generation is gonna ruin all of our lives with White Claw.
There's going to be no more beer. There's going to be no more beer. A 12
Dave,
pack.
I'm in. I will pay $95 for a 12 pack of Broken Skull.
Get
Done.
this going, Dave. Don't sing it, bring it.
What's the percentage on that, Dave? While you're looking at it, what's the alcohol percent in that some bitch?
Tell me what the alcohol is on that son bitch. I'm
What?
gonna guess it's an 8 or a 9. What do you think?
Yeah, that's like the sweet that's like the sweet spot. Tim,
Okay.
don't say that. Maybe that's why the country's going to shit because White
I
Claw.
think I think that's half the reason. If they stopped drinking White Claw, COVID would probably disappear.
Done, gone.
No more
I
COVID.
feel like that's you drink the hard stuff. You drink the Johnny Walker. This is the type of stuff that COVID wants no part of. 6.7. That's disappointing.
That is
But
disappointing. I would have thought it was
but
a hard.
I will still the strongest one that I've ever tried was that World of Beer.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the name of it. Evil 3, I think it was called. And that I want to say was around 13%.
Holy shit!
And for a bottle, I don't remember the ounces, but it was a decent sized bottle. You pay at the restaurant about $24. Yeah, but it's 3 beers and it is strong as shit.
That's worth trying.
Yeah,
I would have tried it.
I will pay. My wife has been asking. She's been hounding me for what I want for Christmas, and
I have an idea.
I'm blessed with all this stuff. I have what I have. I enjoy life, and I would love if you're listening, babe. If you're listening,
Mrs.
12 pack
Farah,
of beer. This is the best $95 you'll ever spend. 12 pack of beer.
please, we're appealing to you now. Get Steve a 12 pack of Broken Skull Stone Cold beer, because even when they're drinking it, I don't know if it's the glass or what, but it looks tasty. Like it looks
It
like
looks great.
beer. It does.
It's a nice tall can.
Mm-hmm.
Dudes that drink White Claw need to give up the man card. George,
You
I don't
know,
know you, buddy, but I think we just became best friends.
George,
What is she holding?
George, that's his. I think that might be his daughter holding a fish.
Is it a fish? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. We do a lot of fishing up here. So George is an old friend too. George and I have been friends for pretty much all our lives. He's a good dude. Thank you, George, for tuning in. We appreciate that.
That is not an easy last name to pronounce.
Polumption. Polish.
That makes sense.
Yep. Stephanie
Right.
Polumption is another fan of the show, good friend of mine too. She's a Polumption too. So if you ever see her name pop up like on some of the posts, Stephanie Polumption, she's her and George are cousins. So
Okay.
yep. I just made a whole big deposit connection there.
Yeah, listen, you
Not
can
everybody-
you can make a deposit into Pop Culture Pros anytime you want.
Sweet.
Just don't make
Too
a
proud,
withdrawal.
George says. Sweet. We are the
I'm not
trout.
a big, I've only gone fishing 3 or 4 times in my life. The very first time I ever went fishing was, so I'm from Canarsie in Brooklyn. So I fished off of the Canarsie Pier with my buddy Kevin,
Wow.
and
Is that the East River?
it might as well be.
Might as well be. What is it though? What is that?
Well, it's the pier of Canarsie, so it leads out to into the ocean. But
Into the ocean?
I caught a very colorful, very large rainboot. and it was I don't know why I remember this, but it wasn't during the middle of the summer or anything like that. I want to say it was fall time.
Wow.
And because of the glare that came off of the sun gets weaker there.
Yeah.
But because of the glare, I came home. I woke up the next day with one of the worst sunburns I've ever had in my life, and that's science. Because the sun glares off of the water and it's coming right back at you. So it's like a magnifying glass, which I also did when I was young, burning all
Giant
these.
reflector.
burning all those the ants as they walk by.
Steve, were you a murderer?
I
You
murdered
murdered
an
me.
ant or two. Raul,
The,
Raul, what you know about Canarsie, Raul?
yeah, Raul, let's drop something. Canarsie.
Yes, mom,
Oh, Barbara.
my mom said I'm learning so much about my son. So I had this thought that my mom was going to learn some of my backstories here. Uh,
Well, this is the focus of my show. I want everyone to know my guests. We're
yes.
introducing my guests to the world. While I can be a wise ass, that's the premise of the show. So, Barbara, if you want me to keep digging deeper, you're gonna know her. You want to know. But fun fact, Steve. While we're on the subject of fishing, Georgia, his daughter there had the trout in that picture. Deposit, New York, is the has the best trout stream in the United States of America. It's actually, you can look it up. It's the best place to fish this side of the Mississippi for trout. And people from all over the world and celebrities come and stay at the resorts down here and fly fish the Delaware River. That is a
Resorts in
fact.
Deposit, New York.
They're fly fishing
Two,
resorts
I
down the
never.
river. Well,
You wouldn't expect those two words to be in the same sentence.
no, you
Deposit,
wouldn't.
resort.
If you said Sawmill or Five and Dime, yeah. But no, we have fly fishing resorts, pretty exclusive ones too. Actually, my buddy
That's
Frank is the head chef at the one called the River Run, and it's a restaurant too. But they have a lot of high profile people who come and go through there. One of them is the aforementioned president's son, DJ J or DJ TJ, Donald J. Trump Jr. He actually owns a home somewhere in East Branch, which is like 20 miles from here on the East Branch of the Delaware. But he comes up to the West Branch to fly fish because it's a better river and the East Branch is shit. But yeah, I said it. Anybody from that part of the country want to say it? Bring it. So no, but actually, to be all fairness, the West Branch is a great, and it's the truth. It is an absolutely great fly fish stream to fly fish out of. Luke Tucker, actually one of the guys watching, he's a big fly fisherman. My brother is a big fly fisherman. Like I said, the Trump asshole fishes out of the river. James Bond has come up before. Daniel Craig, is that who it is?
Yep.
He's fished there. Numerous high profile, quote unquote celebrities have come through and stayed there. So that's actually a pretty cool little fun fact about our fair village.
Okay, yeah,
Cool?
I see George putting fishing and lodging put Deposit on the map.
Yep,
That's
true, George. That's really true.
Dave, Mom, close your eyes for a second. Steve has a lot of things similar to Janetti. Oof. All right.
Luke Tucker just solidified it. West Branch, best branch. Goddamn
there
right.
You go. What Raul says I was born and still live in Brooklyn. Where are you? Where?
Yeah, Raul. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of things could be said about Canarsie, but no, I had a lot of fun in Canarsie. I went to PS 115, had a great time there in elementary school. That's where I had my first, not my first, but my favorite teacher of all time.
The comic book lady?
No, she was my middle. Down here they call it middle school. Up there it was intermediate school.
Yeah.
But no, his name was Mr. Roush, and Mr. Roush was just phenomenal. I remember everything about him. I remember the classroom number is 5-303.
Holy shit.
All my brothers, all my sisters were well, I don't know if it was all. It might have been with the exception of one. Brothers and sisters were in his class.
Wow.
He would have a lot of fun in class. He was definitely somebody who had a lasting effect on my life.
Oh wow.
He would send the vocabulary quizzes, and my mom will say here, you know, the word that she'll always remember is loquacious, which means there it is. Look, there it is,
She wrote,
as I say it.
Barbara wrote it. Barbara, bless your heart. Oh,
As
bless.
I say it. So
Oh, that's
loquacious means
so
to talk
great.
a lot. The only concern that Mr. Roush had with me, and
Mhm.
all and you can kind of say it, if you had some of my peers from elementary school in that class,
Mhm.
they would, to a person, they would say that is their favorite teacher ever, most favorite teacher ever. And he lived a few blocks away from me, and I used to ride my bike. This is another thing that my mom's gonna find out. I used to when my mom thought that, or my parents thought that I was right around the block, I was just out. I was
You were
around.
gone.
We lived on 85th and M in Canarsie, and he lived on 80th, which was, if my mom knew that I was riding my bike on that street, which it's mad, it's huge. It's between 80th Street and the Pattagets Club, which was a newer stretch of condos.
Okay.
And it was a club. They had the pool, they had the, I don't know if they had a golf course and whatnot, because I the only reason why I went by there was because I was on my bike.
Sweet.
But I would go around that area, and I would scream out as I would pass by if he wasn't outside, because every now and then him and his wife would be hanging outside on the porch. I'd be on my bike and I'd be like, Mr. Roush, scream, so that on my next time around he'd come outside and say hi to me. But he not only did he teach me a lot. I mean, I think we all have that one teacher from our past that we can kind of nail down had a big impact on us.
Hmm.
But
I agree.
I and he'd embarrass the hell out of me too, because there was a girl in the class that I liked, and we'd pass notes back and forth, and he'd just be like, Steve, Alana, what are you guys talking about? You want to read that note to the class? No, Mr. Roush, we'll stop. But
Oh,
we had the fifth grade dance, and he was one of the guy. He was one of the chaperone teachers out there, and I was super shy, and you would never know it now, but I was super super shy
no
at,
shit.
at, at that point, where I remember asking her out to the fifth grade prom, right?
Oh shit.
And
We're
taking
getting like
pointers
deep
from my
exclusive.
same aged friends, calling
Oh.
her and asking her out, and she agreed to go to the prom with me in fifth grade, and super shy, and I just remember being like a few feet away from her,
Mhm.
on the dance floor, and
Right.
feeling a hand on my back
No.
pushing me,
Was
and it was
that
Mr. Roush.
he was pushing you in?
And he was pushing me in. He was like, "If you you pass notes all day in class. If you don't go and dance with her,
That's
no."
awesome.
But it was fun.
Right, so you remember Mr.
That
Rush.
class was a good time. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
great.
I'll never forget Mr. Roush.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I gave two shits about any of my teachers like that. Like I didn't dislike them, but I honestly don't know if any of them had like a gigantic impact on, because I friggin' hated school. I hated school. I didn't do any homework ever, and I never studied for a test. And I passed with like 75 and stuff, like just to get out of there. I didn't hate school. I didn't really like it. I just, and I mean, there were very cool teachers, like the gym coach O'Connell, Ron O'Connell, fabulous man, outstanding human being. excellent coach. I guess if anybody stands out, he stands out. Mr. Wayne, I worked with him after I got out of school in the antique business, so that was fun. So you know what? Everything I just said was total bullshit. I guess
But
there's a
just,
bunch of teachers that
just the fact that we're at the age we are, and we can
Mhm.
remember specific moments about these teachers and the impact that they had on our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, it says a lot. Whether we hated, I mean, what the percentage of kids out there that love school is low.
Oh Christ.
But but I remember Mr. Roush, absolutely. I remember Miss Pollock for handing out the comic books. I remember the teacher that I just hated the most because it was the only time I ever was suspended from school.
Oh shit.
And it was my chemistry teacher, and I can't remember her name. And I don't give a shit
No.
what her name is at this point. But the test tube holders, the little clamp things.
Yeah. What the hell are
So
they called anyway? They have a name.
I don't know, but
Dave, you know everything else. You don't know what the hell this is. You're not going to chime
yeah,
in now with your
Mister Know It
freaking white
All.
claw and your expensive socks. Come on.
Hey, listen, socks are socks. There's some nice socks out there, but
There are. I'm not. You know what? I don't know why I even said that because I'm a bit of a sock diva myself. So
I could be, when needed, I can be a sock connoisseur. But that particular teacher, she taught chemistry. I had such a tough time with chemistry. It's a subject that still like kind of like gives me PTSD to this point. Uh, but like what do I need to know all this shit for? Like really? But
yeah.
we were in class, and she had her lab coat on, she had her protective glasses on and protective gear, and she's looking to the right, and I'm next to her, and there's a kid next to me. I can't remember his name. I can see him, but I can't remember his name. He No, it's the holder. It's like a I don't know what I don't know what this is called. Anyway, so so yeah, the rack is where you put the test tube in, but like when you're
Talking about
holding
little-
it to
Yeah.
the little thing that you squeeze and whatever.
Like or
So
whatever.
yeah, so I was getting ready to take a test tube, and I wish I would have been quicker about it now that I think back. But a friend of mine had the clamp. I'll call it a clamp. The clamp was open right next to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when she turns her head, he lets the clamp go, which squeezes and holds. So
Yeah.
it caught her hair.
Ooh,
And so when she turned around, who was there? This guy.
you. This guy.
This guy. So I got suspended for it. Pulling the teacher's hair with, even though I had the clamp in my freaking hand, and my mom might be able to help me out as a science teacher, and I got sent to the principal's office for that, even though I didn't do it. But I wound up going to his class, and my brothers were in his class. I can't remember his name right now, but he kind of calmed me down. But I did end up getting suspended for that, and
Um,
it pisses me off to this day. It annoys me. I had my clamp was in my hand. There was a clamp stuck in your hair. Obviously, the kid right next to me with no clamp in his hands.
she blamed you.
And it was
Still.
me.
No shit. Now, speaking of brothers, man, I didn't know you had brothers.
Yeah, I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters.
No shit, Steve.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Look at all this stuff that we're learning about you.
There it is. 3
That's
brothers,
awesome.
2 sisters.
Now I'm not as traveled in Brooklyn as you. I spend most of my time in Greenpoint. Greenpoint has the greatest donut shop ever known to man called Peter Pan Donuts. You ever been there?
I have not.
I'm telling you right now, I've never in my life had a frigging donut that good. They shouldn't be that good. Everybody would say every person who I've brought either it back to or brought down there is like, oh, donuts a goddamn donut. Oh, that doesn't mean they take one bite and they're like, oh, like the soup Nazi guy, or like
Is
when
it?
they said he had the soup. That's what you got to do with these
Is it
goddamn
like specialty donuts? Are
Oh,
they specialties? Like I know down here that there's a donut shop and maybe Bert, if he's still watching, there's a donut shop out in Pembroke Pines. I think there's one up in Orlando and Universal where the line is always out the door, and you can get
yeah.
maple bacon donuts with bacon on them and all that kind of stuff.
It's kind of a Polish place, and it's kind of a
Okay.
traditional donut. Like they have the whipped cream with the chocolate sprinkles, which is the fucking best donut ever made in the history of mankind.
I'm a big
Um,
chocolate guy. I chocolate flavored coffee. I'm all about the chocolate stuff.
well, then, Steve, you would like the chocolate glazed donut that they make because it's like eating a piece of the moistest, freshest cake you've ever had in your life,
That's
and
phenomenal.
you'd probably faint, then you'd probably reawaken, then you'd probably walk back in, and you'd have to. Oh, by the way, yes, the line, like there are so many hipsters filled in that place. It's like, they're all carrying typewriters, and they all got like a beard, and not the cool beard, like the hipster beard with like the fisherman's hat. Where are these people coming from? I don't ever.
Remember from Seinfeld, hipster doofus.
Hipster doofus. I mean, Kramer makes. I mean, Kramer. He's normal compared to these people. Like, I don't get it. Like, I would like a coffee, but I would like light, like sugar, or like
One and a
Splenda.
half sugars. One and a half
And
sugars. Don't you dare put a little bit more than a one and a
put a
half.
little more in it. And like, do you have like organic creamer? And you got these like hardy Polish girls who work there are unimpressed. They're just like 1 or 2 sugar, cream, no cream. It's like, and that's what's so cool about it. It's just coffee and goddamn donuts, and that's what I want. And it's so goddamn good.
That's
Tim
very cool.
Tim actually
That
turned me onto it because he or Sam didn't live far from it. I think growing up, I don't know how the story works. I'm making half of this up, but Tim and Sam turned me onto this. And Sam always brings me up donuts when they come up to stay upstate. But it's the absolute best donut shop, 100% known to man. It really is.
I'm starving right now, and the donuts are just like, yeah. It's called Moho Donuts in Pembroke Pines. Salty donuts down in Wynwood is like the hipster area down here in South Florida.
Yeah,
But I mean, I love me some donuts. I'm a big Dunkin' Donuts guy.
I like
Uh,
Dunkin' Donuts. I'm a Starbucks coffee guy, but I'm a
oh,
little snobby. I'm a little snobby when it comes to coffee. I like my flat white. I like me a flat white.
that's a little upsetting. Gotta
No,
be
I
honest
like
with you on
regular
that.
coffee, man. I drink it black. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I can drink it black, but I love coffee. I've had I usually have 2 cups a day. I know you drink a hell of a lot more than that.
oh yeah, yeah. I tell you what, I made a mistake the other night. Frankie and I were hanging out, and we went to the dollar store, and I'd already drank like a coffee before we went to the dollar store. The Family Dollar. That's like an outing in Deposit, going to the Family Dollar, like the big type deal. And I got a Red Bull, and he's like, "You're drinking a Red Bull at 7:30 at night?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" So the next day, he's west of me. He goes, "Oh, good, great." He goes, "How late were you up?" I was like, "Well, I mean, I fell asleep, but I woke up at 2 and I never got back to sleep." And stupid
uh,
as me, I got the goddamn 20-ounce one, and I sucked it down like I hadn't had a drink in 3 days. And I tell you what, man, I could like see my thoughts forming like out in the atmosphere, like
but it's
pop.
funny that's exactly what I do. Also, it doesn't matter the time of day. If
Mhm.
I'm getting a coffee, I'm going strong with it.
Oh yeah,
So, yeah,
all
like
right.
I have a Keurig machine. I've got an espresso machine because my wife found a great deal on it. But the other
Don't
day,
touch.
yesterday I did a coffee in the Keurig machine at the strongest level, and
Sweet.
then I popped the strongest espresso that I can find right now on Nespresso. and I did a shot
Nope.
of that in there, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It's phenomenal. You know,
That's
I mean, there are the days that you just need it. But you
you
know,
gotta have it.
yeah,
It
you
brings you.
gotta
Almost like reanimates you. Like like you're
exactly right.
yeah.
You could be feeling, you know, weary or dreary or down or what, but that cup of coffee,
Pops you right
boom,
back to that reality.
exactly.
It does. Well, Steve, we're heading up on the 2 hour mark. I think we've been entertained these folks quite
That's
quite
what we do.
successful.
That's what you do on this show.
That's what you do on this show. That's what the show is all about. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to wrap this one up. And
Wrap this bad boy.
I would like to thank you, sir. Thank you very much for being my guest. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the wonderful anecdotes that we have gone through today and all the knowledge we have acquired about Mr. Steve Faraci. The stimulating talk always is appreciated, and I'm sure we're going to see you again on this show. I'm guaranteeing everyone that Steve will be back on this show. And so I would just like to, Steve, I wanted to ask you, do you have any parting words before we sign off into internet land?
Well, look, this is the start of something great. I absolutely do believe that. I believe in you. I believe in this audience. I think you're going to do great things here. And, you know, on the Pop Culture Pros podcast network, you can find us anywhere you listen to your podcast.
Anyway,
Soon to be, you'll be able to find us on Amazon Music also. So, you know, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Castbox if you're an Android person. Anywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcast, you can find us.
that's right.
You know, Amazon Music is coming. We've got just a ton of entertainment, a ton of shows on this network, and I appreciate the shit out of everybody who, you know, puts forth effort on this network. That includes Eric. That includes Timmy, Dave, Gia, Nardo.
Even Nardo.
Even Nardo.
I'm sorry,
Uh,
Nardo. I had to.
no, listen. Nardo is a very fun person to just to mess around with.
She is. I've gotten to see that in our witty banter on our other talk thing.
Right. Yeah. And you know, Dave and Bert and Tim with and you just too sweet show. Keith and Rodriguez when it comes to the Met show. Producer Joe. You know, behind the scenes, Timmy always chiming in. You know, even when he wasn't part of the network, he was chiming in. You know, so I appreciate all that. I appreciate all the fans out there. You know, trying to grow this community. So if you're watching us and you enjoyed what you see, Dave says Eric needs to cool the flirting around Nardo. Listen, Dave's been flirting with Nardo for years.
He's jealous because I get reactions out of her, and he hasn't got. He's got was like a phone. So hey, David, you want to pick up? You know, I'm sorry that the game is here. And you know, if I'm Milton Bradley, you know, you're like Tiddlywink. So there you go. So
listen, your HBK is Janetti. It is.
there you go.
Some things in life,
Marty.
it is what it is.
It's what it is, Dave.
Right.
It is what it is.
But you know, just a ton of shows that you can tune into, whether it be live, on demand, you know, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Yeah.
And the reviews
and
too.
The fan page.
Don't forget to let them know about all the reviews that you guys do on movies and TV shows. I mean,
yeah, and I'm right in the middle. As soon as we're done here, I'm gonna go finish up the Selena series on Netflix.
That's right, Selena.
And, you know, as I'm getting through this, there's the embargo has been lifted. So the embargo date is usually the point, the cutoff time. You can't talk about it. Can't talk about it. Can't talk about it. Embargo's lifted. Okay, you can talk about it now. So the embargo's lifted on it. So far, it's you know, there's a lot more detail in it than the movie, obviously, because this is a series.
Okay.
And it's Rosita from The Walking Dead. If you watch that show, she's doing so far. I'm through 5 episodes. There's 4 more episodes to go. It hits on Friday. But she is doing a damn good job as Selena. I know we're all used to the J Lo Selena,
Oh,
and you know
I could
we,
I
we
could
could
watch
say
I could just watch her from. I'm not gonna even say it. Go ahead.
we could say a lot about it, but this one definitely dives into gets into the weeds a little bit more than the movie, obviously, because it's an extended series. But
But it's
I'm
interesting though.
yeah, tonight or early tomorrow, you'll be able to see the review up on popculturepros.com. And from popculturepros.com, you can get to all the social media links on there as well. Like I said, Instagram, Twitter, both Facebooks, whether it be the fan group, whether you like the page or join the group.
Join the group.
Listen. We have a lot of fun in the group already,
Oh yeah.
and it's just getting started. We're gonna do raffles in there. We've already begun the giveaways, so you can see some of these movies early, like some of the Amazon exclusives, the Netflix exclusives. You can start seeing those early,
Yeah.
and from the
Before it
comfort of
happens.
your own home.
And you hit real quick, Steve. You hit on a
Yeah,
good point. We really appreciate the people who have joined the group and the interaction that they're showing. I mean, I in the last couple of weeks, I've seen so many people who have joined, just getting in on the content, dropping something on Facebook or Instagram. It's like we got to give Deanna Zant a shout out. She's got some really cool stuff
absolutely.
that's up there. We really appreciate that. My brother or Timmy or Ed Camus. Ed's always got some really cool
Yep.
shit. And all these other people that all of us have branched out and brought in. It's so great that you guys are doing this. I'm
It's a wonderful community. It's been a great community so far because it's, when you talk about pop culture, it's really a broad brush stroke that is
it is.
painted, right? So, and one post could be about Dr. Dre, and then the next post could be about Spider Man. The next post could potentially be about Britney Spears,
And the
Mariah
next one,
Carey, Christmas,
yeah,
right? It's just it's a group that anybody can belong to.
hmm
When you think about the island of misfit toys, right?
there you go. That's us.
That's
And
us.
anything goes. Anything you like, anything that is pop culture, any show, any sport, any obscure commercial you liked when you were 4 years old,
Yep.
bring it up, throw it on there. We will talk about it and
The
we will
commercials are
interact.
great. I've seen some of those commercials that get posted in there, and I know Tim and Keith are gonna kind of kick off eventually our music series, which is
Music series.
Pro Tunes. They're gonna start it off with the Doors.
hmm
And I don't know if you can start it off better than that. You got the Doors. One week you could be talking about the Doors, which at this point seems like a 5-part series with the different albums.
I think so.
The next week you can go to Eminem. The next week you can go to Snoop Dogg. Next week you
No,
can go to My Chemical
Metallica.
Romance. The possibilities are endless. The sports talk is great. The movie talk is great. The TV show stuff is great with the streaming stuff because when you get into this community, it's all about you're in the know of this particular thing, right?
Yeah,
And then Eric could point this piece out, and next thing you know, Dave is watching what Eric is trying to gain access to and whatnot, and it's just it blends. All of it blends in together, and that's the beauty of this thing.
that exactly what I was thinking. Perfectly put. Perfectly put.
Yeah, and,
So
and very soon, we're gonna get on the streaming stuff where we talk about what's new in streaming across all the different platforms: Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, all that stuff. And then starting very soon through Christmas, we're gonna launch a series of discussions on all the holiday movies. You know,
That's gonna be fun.
Die Hard,
Die Hard, Die Hard. Love Actually.
Rudolph, Love Actually. You know, Christmas Vacation. There's the Grinch. You know, there's just tons of stuff to talk about, even around the holiday season,
Yeah.
down to like Christmas with the Cranks. It's just a lot of cool stuff that going on. Timmy says I'll be up at 3 a.m. watching Mandalorian. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. Pop Culture Pros is the way.
We are the way, and we want to thank you, Steve. Once again, I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank you for being the first here on the A to Z
Anytime.
program. I want to thank everybody who commented. I want to thank everybody who tuned in, and of course, everybody who stops in to see us on whatever social platform that we are on, whatever one that you use the most. We thank you so much for that. And next week we're going to be back, or maybe this week we'll be back, but guaranteed next week the A to Z program will be back with another guest. Maybe it'll be Nardo, maybe it'll be Dave, maybe it'll be
Can't
somebody
wait.
from, maybe it'll be somebody from the Mummy. You don't know. That's the joy of the A to Z program, because expect the unexpected, but expect to have fun. So on behalf of Pop Culture Pros, on behalf of Mr. Steve Harachi Esquire over here, I am Eric Zant. I'm A to Z, and we will see you next time. Peace be with you.